Welcome back to the Daily Show. William Wood here. I'm super excited to have you here. I am the creator of the Lifestyle Profits Academy. I help entrepreneurs create breakthroughs in their mindset, in their personal life, and in their businesses. And the Daily Show is dedicated to helping deliver massive value to you. Sometimes we train mindset. Sometimes we train tactics. Sometimes we tell stories. Today we're telling a story. We've got Tracy Walker back here, the amazing Tracy Walker. She's done amazing things in her business. She's done more than $1 million in sales online over the last couple of years. And she's going to be telling us a little bit about her journey. In part one, which aired yesterday, we talked a little bit about her journey from real estate tycoon to bankrupt to digging herself out of that pit. And today we're going to be talking about how she went from brand new person, just starting online, not knowing what a blog was, not knowing what an autoresponder was, not knowing how to capture a lead, to now having generated more than $1 million in sales. And additionally, we're also going to be talking about her journey as a mom, a mompreneur, the amazing mompreneur. And so we're going to talk about some of these things today, and there's going to be some amazing value. I recommend you pull out a pad of paper and a pen, take notes. Certainly, if you like what you hear today, you're going to want to do a couple of things. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you subscribe to the Daily Show, and you can see that down at the bottom. We'll be talking more about that at the end of the show. Also, you're going to want to share this content. I recommend you take the link and you send it out to a mom who is needing to turn things around. You take today's link and you send out an email, you send out a social media post, and you let people know about Tracy Walker's story. Over and over and over again, I have people that tell me that they don't think that there's a way out of their situation. And the cool thing about today's show is we've got someone who came out of bankruptcy. She came out of a difficult situation. She's raising a child alone, and she's been able to overcome all those things and become a massive success. So if you need someone who needs that kind of inspiration, you can be the one that helps that person turn things around just by sharing today's story. With that, Tracy Walker has a favorite book. We talked about it yesterday. It's The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. It's a fantastic book. It's one I've read like at least 15 times. I mean, just a bunch. In fact, at the beginning of the year, I think I heard Tracy talk about it, and I decided I was just going to read that book over and over and over again. I didn't read anything else for like 5 months. That's like all I read. I just studied the book. I combed through it, and I got fantastic value. It's one of the books that inspired The Secret. It's one of the books that's inspired Bob Proctor, and it has also inspired the amazing Tracy Walker. If you want a free copy of that book, here's how you can win. You scroll down to the bottom of this page after you watch the interview, post a meaningful comment about 24 to 48 hours after the show posts or it goes live. We're going to choose one of our favorite commenters, someone who's posted their heart and soul in a comment, and we are going to tell you, yay, you won, and we will mail you a free copy of The Science of Getting Rich right to your home or your office, wherever you want us to send it. So with that, let's get back into your story. Tracy, so there you are. You're brand new online. You're just trying to figure things out. You found a mentor, but you don't really know like what the next step is. So how did you go from I don't know what I'm doing to getting your first lead and your first sale?
Fumbling and bumbling a little bit too, because see, the thing is, like, you start listening to people and then you shut out what you just heard them say and then go look for a different or better way, right? Like, okay, right. Yeah, that sounds cool, but there's got to be a faster, right? So it took me a little bit. I went through that psychodrama for a minute, and then ended up right back to what he told me before. There's a quote that says, if at first you don't succeed, go back and do what your mentor told you to do the first time. So that's what I did. I went back and said, let me just focus. And like I said, he said, you need 3 things. You need a blog, you need a lead capture page, you need an autoresponder. So I had to go and educate myself on what these 3 things were, how they would integrate with one another, how to use them, and what the benefits were, right? And then I got it. So the lead capture page was going to be how I would get people who were interested in what I was talking about to end up on my list, right? Mm-hmm. So fine. Then the autoresponder was the list, right? That's where they went. They were on the list. And then the blog was designed to communicate with the people on the list. that was real, and I got that. Like I could see that happening in my head as like a little, factory over and over and over again. So that's really all I did, was just focus on those things, get more people to the lead capture page, get as many people to opt in, get them on the list, and then just send out the blog to them every day to share something with them. And because I was learning along the way, what I found to be the most useful is I heard people say this all the time, and it's exactly what we did back then, and it's the same now. I would go and I would learn something. Let's say I would listen to one of his audios or watch one of his videos, go on YouTube or whatever, and I would literally grab the concept and not necessarily give like a summary, like, oh, here's what I learned from him today, but just a, hey, did you know, right? If you wanted to generate more leads, like MySpace back then. If you want to generate more leads on MySpace, here's what you got to do. Right?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing here. I'm like, yeah. So I know that there are people watching this going, what's MySpace? Right? Let me the rest of this right now.
It was, right? And it was like, oh, did you know that you could get more leads with my story marketing than you would with, pushing people to do something, right? And I would just take whatever I learned and kind of make it my own and teach it. Because I understood that there was always a group of people that had not yet attained the level of understanding that I had at that point. We might all be new, but I knew a little bit more, right? And if I could just share that little bit more with the group that was following me, then that was fine enough, right? I didn't have to know all the fancy techniques yet. I was just speaking to the people who I was a little bit more knowledgeable about something than. That was like who I was focused on. And that was my method. And I would just literally, he told me that as far as an action step, Will, his thing was you need to write an article every single day, right? Especially when you're brand new, because no one knows you. You don't have enough traction. You don't have a name. It's nothing. And you can't do things the way a millionaire would do them on day one, right? So day one, I just would write a blog post every single day, literally every single day. And I did that for like 60 days. And then I realized, okay, sometimes I get tired of writing. So what if I could do a video, right? I said, well, can I just do a video instead? Like, that's fine too, right? And I would do a video on days that I was, a little hesitant or tired of writing. And that became my foundation for everything that I was doing. And then people would contact me and say, oh my goodness, you're everywhere. Right? And I was like, oh God, well, that's amazing, because I was just writing this blog every single day. Now I was syndicating it. I wasn't just writing a blog and it was just there. So there was a series of processes where I could share it like a newspaper, right? A newspaper does no good if it doesn't have people's homes to get into, right? Same thing. We're writing blog posts, we're sharing content. You got to get it into people's inboxes or Facebook walls or something. And I did that just consistently. That's all I focused on. And started to enroll people into the company that I was in at that time. And just things kind of started to pick up. What ended up happening was I started getting results, right? Like I was starting to get 10 to 20 leads a day just from my blog. And he found that to be quite amazing, right? Because I was brand new for like maybe 4 months or something. And he interviewed me, right? So you take a person that has no influence in the market, and you interview that person by someone who has a ton of influence in the market. And then that person, or like my mentor, he sent out that interview to his entire list, right? And all of a sudden it was almost like a quantum leap, because now people were following me. They were going to my lead capture page. They were inboxing me. They were friending me. They were asking me questions. They wanted to join. All of that because I just initially did the very basic, got results, got the attention of the mentor. The mentor leveraged it, gave me a platform, and then it kind of, boom, doubled, right?
Wow.
That in itself gave me a chance to start with a system that was just starting. This was 2008, I believe. And they were brand new. And so I kind of shifted from that initial company into this company, right? But because I knew how to get leads at this point, now I was in a different environment where people know, well, how do I get leads, right? Well, I had learned how to get leads through blogging. So then I would just teach people. I mean, literally, we would be on Saturday afternoon workshops for 3 hours. I mean, some of my old teammates could testify to this. Like, we would just be on there going over training step by step, showing my screen, everything that I'm doing, I was giving that to my teammates so that they could, try to duplicate what I was doing. Did that, and then within a year, I was probably making about $8,000 a month, right? And so that's really like a year and a half, right, of being on the internet before I got to 5 figures in a month. Now, for some people, that might be too long. And for others, that's super fast. I don't know. All I know is that's what it was for me, right? And so just along the way, I created a course during that period of time.
Let's back up, though. I mean, sometimes I know I remember I had a conversation with a friend. Okay, I'm going to leave him nameless, right? And he was talking to me about my coaching business, because what I do is I coach. I'm in my coaching office right now. Here's a little tour. And you can kind of see this is where I hang out for a good portion of the day. And I've been in this office for a handful of years. I'm actually thinking about moving here shortly to another spot that's a little bit bigger than what I got. I got about 700 square feet here. And I see people one-on-one. I do performance coaching. I do lots of mindset stuff. And then I work with clients over Skype. And so I was talking to him about what it would take to start up a business. And I think that it probably cost me $4,000 or $5,000 to get started up. And then I did a little bit of advertising, and I joined some networking groups, local networking groups. And then, it started to grow. And it was probably, within a couple of months, I had my appointment calendar booked full, pretty much full. Like right now I'm booked through the end of November. And he was saying, well, that's a lot of work. And I was like, well, yeah, business is work. You're not going to just go out. I don't care what the business is. I don't care if it's coaching. I don't care if it's online business. Most people are not going to show up day one and make $1 million doing whatever they're doing. Right? Most people are not going to show up and instantly have their calendar booked out a month in advance, doing whatever they're doing without some focused effort. People are typically not going to start a business with some kind of capital outlay, right? Now, I actually think that going online and starting a business online is one of the cheapest ways to start a business. But he said, well, how much do you spend a month on overhead? And I was like, well, probably $1,000 on overhead. And he's like, oh, that's a ton of money. And I'm like, not really, not for developing a 6-figure income. And the question that I have for people watching right now is this, as you're listening to Tracy's story, is if you knew that all it would take to get you from point A to point B in whatever your dream is, whether it's online or offline, would you be willing to invest a year and a half of work, not of wishing and hoping, but of actual focused work to develop the business that you want? For those of you that might be single mom, staying at home, because that's what Tracy's story is all about. Right now, we're going to get to that here in just a minute. Is would you be willing to invest some time and some energy in learning a new skill so that you can stay at home and support your family? And it doesn't happen right away, but it does happen. I mean, what would you say to somebody, Tracy, if they were telling you that they were just wanting to start business, but they weren't willing to go through any of the growing pains?
You want the Tracy Walker answer, or you want the really?
I want the real live Tracy Walker answer.
The Tracy Walker answer is, then I don't think this is for you.
Right.
I mean, it's just, you got to have a certain level of fortitude to be in business for yourself. And there's so many other obstacles that you're going to face down the road that if out the gate you're saying you're not willing to do the minimum, then you might as well not even get going, because as soon as a rock hits your windshield, you're gonna fold, basically. So let's not even waste any time. And if you want me to be your mentor, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because I can't. There's time is too valuable, especially as a mom now. Like, I don't have that type of time to waste with people on finicky, wishy-washy mindset about it. I have my own stuff I got to go through from time to time. I'm still a human. But the last thing that I'm going to do is be on the phone with someone who 1 minute wants it, next minute doesn't. You got to know.
So mindset-wise, this is important, because this is part of what we train on, is mindset. And it doesn't matter if you want to do business with us or you want to do business somewhere else. Our goal is to support you wherever you're at. That's what the Daily Show is all about. We hope if you like what you do that you come in and you hang out with us some more. But what is the minimum? You've been in several businesses now. You've been successful across several businesses. What kind of mindset do you think it takes for a brand new business person to actually succeed? How long are they probably going to have to work at it? You know, what's the time commitment they're going to have to do? What kind of activities are they going to have to learn?
Mm-hmm. You know, I was the thing that helped me. This I can only reference it from that standpoint. The thing that helped me was that the importance of finding a mentor wasn't so that I could have somebody to call and moan and groan to. The importance for me in finding a mentor was that I could find out exactly what I needed to do and what fat I could cut off, right? And if he could just tell me what steps I needed to follow every single day, then that would save me, right? And that's what I wanted to know. It's so much noise on the internet. Could you just tell me if I want this result and I'm going to work in this company or with this product or this service, what do I have to do in this environment to get, you know, that result? That's what he showed me how to do, right? And that would be what I would advise someone just getting going is, listen, whoever you select to be your mentor, they should have some sort of plan or guideline for what you should be following. And then you then have to have the initiative to implement. And I think it was the speed of implementation for me that helped, right? It wasn't that I was doing anything different than, let's say, somebody else that was following the same steps. It was I had a different reason why I had to get it done. And I had motivation for how fast I would prefer for it to be done. So I'm just going to go as fast as I can, essentially. And I wasn't going to stop until I got it because I knew it could work. I had seen, I mean, it's ridiculous to say, oh, it doesn't work when I'm talking to people and see they get leads every single day, right? So it wasn't that. I knew people could make sales in any business every single day. I had seen people create courses and who were top earners in companies and every single day. And so it wasn't that it wasn't possible. It's like, okay, well, Trace, what do you need to do in order to get those same types of results? And that mentorship, although he did not hold my hand or speak to me every day, that blog that he wrote every day was very significant. And I paid attention to it as if it were like the Last Supper every day, right? And if he said, do it, I just did it. And over time, it built up momentum. And that's what kind of worked in my favor after a certain point.
And, you know, it's interesting as we're talking about this, that ultimately you are on that blog today.
Right.
Right? What were the Daily Show is that blog that you've been talking about. His blog, that's what this show is all about. This is his daily blog 5 days a week. The same message that he was talking about all those years ago is the same message that we're talking about today. It's the same formula. I mean, it's been updated. It's the 2016.
Well, you know what? Well, actually, it's two different blogs because this blog that we're on right now, I didn't even meet David until 2009.
Oh, yeah. Okay, nice.
When he joined that same system that I was in.
Right.
That's in 2008. And what bonded us together was the fact that he learned how to blog too. Right?
Okay.
So I was blogging, he was blogging, and so when the idea for essentially Empower Network, you know, was downloaded into his sphere, it made complete sense to me because I was already making money doing that same thing, right? And I figured I could leverage the blog. So I just wanted to share that really fast so people aren't confused. Yeah. Two different blogs, but essentially doing the same type of thing is essentially what
doing the same type of activities. My mistake. A couple more questions. I got to run here in just a minute. I got a client waiting for me here, but let's go ahead and I want to ask you about the single mom thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you're in a business situation that you weren't in, let's say, a couple of years back, 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago, and here you are, still very successful entrepreneur out there doing great things in the world, and you have to deal with the extra, all the extra things that come along with being a single mom in business. So just talk to me for like 2-3 minutes about what it takes to be a single mom in business and to be a success.
it takes a lot more discipline than, I mean, I had discipline before, because you can't make $1 million and not have discipline, right? So I had discipline before, but it's a different type of discipline. I would work like a workaholic, right? Because I'm just obsessed with results and things like that. And I could work into the wee hours of the morning. I could sleep late. I could do whatever, and it didn't really matter. Now that's impossible, right? I can't just work our hours of the night, and I can't just sleep until I wake up in the morning, right? So
right.
It takes the discipline to identify what things you need to do during the work hours that you have, because there will be a point in time where you won't be able to work during the day. It's just impossible with a 2-year-old, right? So that I had to figure that out, right? I'm still actually kind of figuring some of that stuff out. I think that you also have to have a good sense of work and family balance. Right? I didn't have that before because it was just me, right? And I mean, I was married before, but it's still different when you're two individuals with no children, no responsibilities from that standpoint. You know, you could go in the office and work and everybody respects what you're doing. It's not a big deal. But when you have a little person, the little person cares not about what interview you have to do or what webinar. All they care about is what they care about, right? So having to turn it off and be done with it and not obsessing, right? Which I'm still working on a little bit of that, because I obsess about what I need to do and let's get it done, and trying to not feel bad, right? Because I want to work, as opposed to, okay, I spent 5 hours looking at Daniel Tiger. I want to now get back to my webinar funnel, right? So,
you want to be a webinar tiger, right? Yeah.
That's right? So the discipline, you know, just being able to have the work-family balance. And then as a mom, you know, I mentioned it before, like the guilt. You know what I'm saying? A real thing is like that mommy's guilt, right? Because then I don't want to work too much because I don't want him to feel like he needs to act out and he's trying to get my attention. But at the same time, if I don't work enough, then we don't have any money. So, you know, understanding that I don't need to feel guilty for working, but at the same time having that thin line of where I can inject in him that mommy loves him, even though mommy's working, right? And so that guilt factor plays a big role, especially when they're little, really little like this. It's such an integral part. And the last thing I want to do is directly or indirectly cause him to feel like he's not being loved or something, right? Because the time is different. So those would be my main 3 things is working on discipline, like your timing out of your day, being able to shut things off. We need to shut them off, give the proper attention to the activity at that time, and then being okay with working even though sometimes the baby is unhappy or they're crying. It's still for the greater good of the family.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm really glad that we got to connect here for a few minutes today. It's always a pleasure. If you like what you heard today, you'll want to make sure that you subscribe to the Daily Show. Daily Show airs 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Sometimes I'm here sharing content like I am today. Sometimes we're doing an awesome interview, and we might have someone like Tracy or someone that's equally as amazing as Tracy. I know that's hard to believe. But
thank you, Will. You're always so awesome.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. And that's just designed to feed your mindset. And all we ask for in return is that you give us your name and your best email address so that we can send you out that show 5 days a week. A lot of the time, both of our money mindset mentor is running the show. His name's David Wood. He's my brother. He is amazing. And I don't just say that because he's my brother. I say that because he literally operates at a genius level doing what he does with money. I've never seen anybody do quite what he does. And so a lot of times he's sharing content too. The way you get access to that show, name, email address below. And when you do that, you're going to get some bonuses. First bonus you're going to get is you're going to get a PDF transcript of today's interview so that you can go back in and read it. I know that I learn differently when I read and than I do when I watch. You're also going to get an MP3 download so that you can go through the audio over and over and over again. And then additionally, I have developed a mindset training I call it Words. And it's a training that teaches you how to use affirmations to change your mindset and to change your outcomes in life. And you're going to get a copy of that. I've charged clients literally hundreds of dollars to go through the same content, and you get it for free just by subscribing today. It's about a 50-minute training. It is absolutely phenomenal material. So we invite you back tomorrow for more amazing content. Tracy, I want to thank you for being here today. And again, just you're welcome on the show anytime, and I really appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you for having me, Will. Anytime. It was definitely my pleasure, and I'm glad I could hopefully share some value to help somebody else out today in their business.
Thank you. Have an awesome day.